the one.
Does this move?
Yeah, I think so.
Move around?
Yeah.
Hello, hello. Does it move around in here? Can we share it? Do you have a handheld?
I think I should have a handheld somewhere.
You have one?
Yeah.
Oh, here. You take this one, and I'll take the handheld, because I won't.
I think you need me at all.
No, I need you, man. Hello, hello. Test, test. Almost don't even need one. Hi.
Bueno, señoras y señores, empezamos bien informal porque como ya vieron, aquí tenemos en Puerto Rico un aplauso formal a Michael Rooker.
Thank you very much.
So I'll do what I did yesterday because I know they all are anxious to talk to you and I feel them squint their eyes if I ask a stupid question. So I'm going to ask the one that I really wanted to ask you. With Henry, when you started on the screen with that character, you said I wanted to have your opinion if you had Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, for those who don't know how Michael started his career on screen. Do you think you had a similar reaction with Merle, that it's sort of a character whose humanity is complicated and complex, and then you suddenly have an outpouring of support? Basically, Henry put you on the screen and gave you a career, so I want to know if you see the parallel reaction between those two characters.
Well, they're both. Henry was really nothing like Merle. Henry's very introverted, very quiet, very fearful individual. Merle was...
It's something else. Yeah.
And not introverted, not fearful, not politically correct, not a gentleman in his own right. Yeah, he could be a gentleman. He just he phrases his words wrong. He calls women sugar tits and stuff like that, and whore, and things like that. Because there's a scene with me and Lori, and I asked her, why we never hooked up. She said, well, first off, you called me a whore. You called me, all this kind of stuff. And I go, and my character, Merle says, oh yeah, Merle has a way with words, doesn't he? something like that.
Yeah, you probably thought they were flirting.
Yeah, you guys listen. You guys probably know the words more than me. Once I say them, they're gone. And many times when I work, if we have to redo a scene for some sort of technical reason, I'm at a loss. I have to almost relearn the whole thing, because I learn it and then it's ready to go, and I do it, and that's it. And I give it everything I got, and I don't ever have to come back. That's my thinking. So if I give it my all the first time, I don't have to do 2 or 3 or 4 times. I just do it one time. One time is enough. You got it. Boom. If you want to do it, the best way to work with me sometimes is just put up 4 or 5 cameras. You get the medium, you get the close-up, you get the master, you get the long shot, you get different angles, and boom, you do it one time and you move on. That's what we did on the rooftop.
Okay.
That monologue on the rooftop was with 4, 5, 6 cameras all at once.
The other thing that really surprised me, something that you said, is with all the publicity about the change of showrunners, is that the writers were open to your suggestions about how Merle was going to go out and things were going to play out. You've done a lot of TV, you've done a lot of movies. Is that a usual experience for the third team of writers on a show that's the #1 show, to sort of take your input in and sort of, because you own the character so much?
It's very true. I mean, after 3 seasons, you better know what you're doing, and a lot of times you better know that, I don't think I would do that. What makes Merle do it that way? Why would I do it that way? That kind of thing. So you got to bring up those questions, and the writers like it too, because they get caught up in all kinds of other stuff. So they're doing their gig, they're doing their job, and so they're not always remembering sometimes what has already been established. So you got to follow a through line. It doesn't mean you can't change. As a character, the character can't grow and change. Merle changed a lot, but in a way, not really. He had always been that way. It's just that, given the right situation, he would have reacted and responded in a different way. Even the first scene, like you see Merle on the rooftop shooting zombies' heads off, right? T-Dog comes up and he says, "Stop doing that." And he's like, "Come on, Are you serious? You know.
So I'm gonna hand it over quickly to your fans who are here to talk to you. But I've seen that you've been doing the rounds in terms of going to conventions and doing this sort of activity. What has been the distinctive experience with your fans that you've been in Puerto Rico that you've been able to share in the last couple of days? Something that sets us apart a little
Well,
bit.
we always have the language issue is there. You know, so if I talk too fast or you guys talk too fast, I don't know what you're saying. You don't know what I'm saying. But you know, I understand this.
That is universal, sir. And I never thought I'd see the day to see you do that. So I hope somebody has it too.
But it happens all the time. People come up and they're like this, and they're running in place, and they're like, yeah, they're waiting for the lady to say, okay, go ahead. Go ahead now. And they're like at a starting point, and they just come. I had one girl hug me so hard that she almost knocked me over into the other lines. It's like boom! There was a big old bounce. It was great.
All right, so I have questions for him, but I'm sure that así que vamos a el que tenga preguntas rápidamente se coloca detrás del micrófono que está ahí. Así que si están tímidos yo rápido les sigo preguntando, pero asumo que ustedes quieren hablar con él. All right, so here we go. Ajá. Dale, que mira,
I see Michael enjoying the screen.
What's wrong with this kid? What's the matter? It doesn't. Never mind.
Don't kill the moderator. First question.
Okay, Michael, before I ask the question, first of all, thank you for 3 seasons of The Walking Dead. You basically kicked some ass. We all love our bad guys in terms of character development, and we are very sad when we see those bad guys go in some act of redemption. Tell me about that final day with Norman.
Look, I think you're gonna get some assistance, Michael.
How do you turn this off?
Yeah, okay. You want to repeat the question?
Thank you.
Tell me about your final day with Norman and that final scene.
Oh, when
Norman kills
takes
him.
the initiative and stabs me like 8 times in the face.
Nobody gets to yell spoiler.
What is that all about? I mean, 8 times? You know what? The boy never learns. I taught him it only takes 1 time. Anything over than any more than 1 bullet, any more than 1 stab in the head, it's overkill. You're wasting energy that could be used to survive later on. So remember when he went on the bridge and he saved the family and all this and all that, and Merle's back there going like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, look, you know what? Fine, you could save the family and kill 15 zombies if you want to, and waste your energy, waste your precious sweat, your body fluids. You're gonna die in the woods, dude. You know? If you can do it with 1 bullet, okay, fine, go do it. If you want to waste a bullet, you know, to save somebody that's would probably never save you. But yeah, that was Merle's attitude. And you know, the deciding thing was the baby cry. You know, remember the baby was crying, and it was like that was the deciding factor for him. And also, you know, I'm not going to let him go up there by himself. So, you know, I tagged along, you know, watched. It was sort of entertaining, so. But anyway.
Okay, próxima pregunta.
Do you still keep in contact with cast members of the show?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go do the Atlanta Wizard World Comic-Con after this. And I'll go down and visit the set and say hey to everybody. And I see Norman a lot at Comic-Cons, different events. And I was just in Dallas, and David Morrissey was there, and so the governor, he plays the governor, we did a Q&A, we did one of these together, and there was like 4,500 people in the audience, so it's kind of cool. It's very cool to talk to that many people. The sound system's really weird, so sometimes you know, when you're doing big panels with that many people and that big of an audience, it's really hard to understand each other, even when you're sitting next to each other.
Have you kept watching the show, after your arc is done?
I do watch the show. Yeah, I'm a fan. I've always been a fan of the show, so I watched it, religiously and like a lot of other people too. And because I'm a fan, I agree and I don't agree. Just like when I'm an actor. I'm an actor. I don't know if I do that, dude. I do it more like this. Boom. Yeah, I watch it, and some of them I like, and some of them I don't. So, no big deal.
All right.
That's okay. I like the show overall, and every single actor in that show is like just unbelievably stellar, just crazy good, and everybody's loving it. Obviously, you guys are big fans, and they're major fans all around the world. Thank you.
Next question.
If you could, what would you change about Merle's death?
Nothing. I thought he went out just fine and dandy. I thought it was a great way to go out. It was if there was anything I could add more, I would have added more of the beatdown. When I pushed the zombie through the door and killed the zombie, and then they come and beat me down with the rifle butts and the kicking. That was so fast and such close up. I would have wanted to see it wider and a lot more violent and ugly. More blood, more beating. I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
More work for Nicotero then?
Yeah, more work for Nick.
All right, sir, next question.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for being here. I wanted to ask you something about you as an actor. Up to the 90s, whenever an actor got in a movie or a TV series that was fantasy or zombie or superhero, it was considered that was bad for the career. It has been a shift in the last 20 years in that it actually turned the other way around, that actors are actually looking forward to being this kind of genre. And from your perspective as an actor, what do you think about that? How you felt about that being the case now, in which most actors are looking to be in this kind of...
Good question. I know this question. I've been asked it before, and it's a really good one. And I like responding to it because I got to tell you, when I went to Telluride and I saw Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, for the first time with an audience, second time with an audience, first time with an international audience, and we lost over 50% of our audience.
Wow.
They literally got up, walked out the door, did not want to watch it, did not want to even be in the same room with what was going on as, on the screen. And me, the director, the producers are all on the back row watching all this, and we're back there going like, yes, 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 they get it. It's hard to watch. It's not nice. It's not Hollywood. It's not beautiful. The woman being raped, she's not liking it, yeah? And she's not going to fall in love with you after. All right? So that's what was going on in Hollywood. Women were being treated, it's just brutal, it's terrible, brutal stuff. And yet all of a sudden now they're with this character, and just stuff like that. And there are no cop chases. There are nothing like that. It's just really stark, kind of dirty, gritty, jungle warfare filmmaking. We were shooting on the streets, and the cop would roll around, we'd cut, wait till they go by, and then we'd go continue the scene where we left off. And that's how we did the movie, and it cost $120,000. It's my first movie, first character I ever had a through line through, and I did it, and I'm very proud of it, and it became a major underground success. People were recognizing me from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, when I'd already done Mississippi Burning, and I'd already done like The 8 Men Out, and some bigger movies, and they weren't recognizing me from those movies yet. But Henry, they were recognizing me from Henry because it was such an underground success that it just blew up. It blew up. It was crazy. And to really answer your question, as I was leaving the theater, I heard behind me, they didn't recognize me, I heard behind me someone say, "God, that guy'll never work again." Boom, and see what happens. You know what? You're right, and it was bad, but it changed. And I don't know what changed. I think the viewing audience changed, the recognition that quality work was being done in the horror genre. And you could flip over. You know what? Actors been doing it. Actors do this all the time. We can do theater. We can do TV. We can do film. We can do live performance. We can do stand-up. Well, I'd rather sit down when I do my stand-up, though.
All right, next question, please.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Rooker. I have a question about, I know you're not anymore in The Walking Dead, but if you were...
How do you know that?
That was good. Anyway, if
Don't
you were...
Just gotta keep it going.
Don't mess with their mind.
What do you think Merle's character's reaction would be to Daryl bonding with Beth? With all these situations of...
You kidding me? Go for it. Since you're bonding with Beth, you keep what? Bond, baby, bond. I think there's not enough bonding going on in that show right now. There should be a whole hell of a lot more bonding going on. Good question.
All right, next question. Let's bottle that up.
More bonding, right?
Yes,
More bonding.
The Walking Dead is bonding.
My heart's in my chest right now, sorry. It's freaking out. If your character was still alive in the show, how would the relationship be with Michonne? What do you think?
Oh, with Michonne?
Not that kind of
As far as I'm concerned, Merle would have bonded with Michonne. You kidding me? Here, let's put that back on.
I got it.
Hey. Michonne, come on, baby. What the hell? You can still hold your blades. It'll be okay.
You asked the question, man. What did you think you were gonna get?
pretty obvious.
Merle is a pretty open-minded guy. Especially, it's the zombie apocalypse, dude. Ain't a lot of pretty women around. They're all dead and walking around and trying to eat you, but they really eat you.
Gracias por la pregunta.
Hi. My question is, I know last year you made the Mythbusters Zombie special.
I did, yes.
How was the experience? How fun it was to try to prove that what happened in the show actually can save you from a zombie apocalypse?
Look, those guys will do anything. You gotta go under the assumption that, yeah, zombies do exist. Zombies don't exist, it's just pretend. So, but if you go with the Mythbusters and you know, zombies do exist, what would be better? You know, a board hitting them over the head or a single shot pistol? You better go with the board because you can swing a whole lot faster than you can shoot a single shot pistol. And single shot pistols only have 5-6 rounds. You know, so you got 5 or 6 chances to make a headshot. And trust me, when 30 zombies are coming after you, you ain't gonna be making those headshots. You're gonna be like running your butt off, right? I mean, maybe your feet, your legs are way more important than a board or a gun, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. We had a great time. It was a fun time, and we all enjoyed ourselves.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Rooker. When your character Meryl from The Walking Dead was left for dead on season 1, did you ever thought that he was coming back? Did you ever thought that? Was
Or you
going to
give
be
I
reintroduced?
thought it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was going to happen.
You weren't given a heads up.
I was hired for maybe 3 episodes, and my character was supposed to end at that moment, but the monologue was not there. It was just, the monologue was something that happened after I'd done the scenes, and the head producer, well, you know, they were all watching the scenes. They loved all the work, and Frank Darabont came up to me and he goes, "I got to go to LA. I'm gonna do something. See ya." And he left. And then about a week later, about 4 days later, I was getting ready to go home, packing my bags and stuff like that. And people kept saying, man, oh man, you're coming back, you're coming back. And I said, dude, I know I'm coming back. It's like a hand cut in a pool of blood. Yeah, that's the only thing I knew. I didn't know that he had written me this most amazing, best 4.5-minute monologue that I've ever done in my life. You know, but he had. And other people had read it already and they knew. But I didn't know yet. They hadn't released the script yet. So I'm thinking, this is it, I'm going home. And that's what I was there for. Just a little part. And so, no, I did not know. Only until that last moment when they said, no, dude, you can't go. You really are coming back. And I go, what? Where? What do you mean? Oh, you haven't read it yet? Oh, the actors are the last to know. Every time. Don't ever forget that. If you're an actor in this audience, realize that you are always going to be the last to know. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi. 2 questions. In the real world, do people treat you like you're really the bad guy? And the second question is about Guardians of the Galaxy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
To address your first question, there are people in our society that are not well.
None of them are here.
Thank goodness. And sometimes, yes, they do.
Confused.
Yeah, you can be involved with an individual that is sort of like a little bit off. You know what I mean? So you gotta just be. People usually approach me with a lot of respect, because I don't like people running up behind me. I don't like people, doing that stuff, So, and I don't think there are a lot of people that have seen my work that want to run up and surprise me anyway. But I'm absolutely very loving. I love to hug, and I'm a very caring individual, and I don't like violence, and I don't like violence being projected onto me. So you do come across people like that, but usually you can say, hey, dude, chill out. No, look, it's pretend, okay? But yeah, it happens. I can't say it never happens, but it's happened to a lot of actors. And so it'll probably still happen.
He had a question about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, that's the second one? Oh yeah, and what do you want to know?
Can you talk a little bit about your character and what's your role in the movie?
No.
You're not even on the second trailer, I don't think. And Marvel is always very secretive about really cool stuff, so that means that you probably got the coolest character in the movie. So come on, throw us a bone.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm gonna say it.
I can tell you that my character is a very cool character. Yondu is a really, really, really a cool character, and I dug all the work that I did with everybody on set, and you're gonna have to wait and see. It's gonna be very interesting and very exciting. And
I'm gonna fish a little bit. Do you share any scenes with our local boy Benicio del Toro? Did you work with him in this movie?
I don't. Who is that?
Who's that? Some guy, some dude.
I'm blue.
You're blue, yeah.
I'm blue.
And it took a lot of time in the makeup chair, I hear. Is it like about 8 hours?
No, it didn't take that long.
Okay.
Slither took 7 hours.
Wow.
About the same director. And for some reason, he likes putting me in makeup. I have no idea. I think that's some weird thing. But my makeup took about 3.5.
Oh, there you go.
4-ish. And then wardrobe took another 1.5 hours or so. I had to have a dresser. Somebody to come in, literally every time somebody would come in, and I would offer my foot, and they put my boot on. I felt like I was royalty. We did do it in England, where the guy's helping me get dressed. I was expecting two lovely twins, but I get my buddy, or some little red-headed guy with freckles.
You mentioned the director. Everybody's gonna probably refer the second movie that was super because of the hero aspect. But do you think, from what I've seen in trailers, do you think that dark sense of humor from Slitter is what makes him great for Guardians? I mean, I'm still fishing. Sorry.
Well, he's still fishing. Well, James Gunn has a very certain, interesting, special
sensibility,
style, and sensibility. So his humor is quite sardonic and interesting, and my humor is very sardonic and interesting. We hit it off. We're like we are like spirits, So we just get each other, and so when he says something, sometimes I do the opposite, but most of the time I go yeah, and I walk away and we do the scene. But he's a very cool guy, and yeah, his abilities are definitely what Marvel saw in him to bring him as the director of and writing too. He wrote the thing too. So, and I get a short, very fast story. He wrote this role for me. Yondu. He wrote Yondu for me. Yondu was never in the works, but he was like, oh, I want to put Rooker in here somehow, and so he wrote this role, and he told me about it. I didn't know anything about the role, and he said, oh no, it's a great role, and I said, and then I realized that, oh dude, they brought me back, and so it was obvious that I couldn't do the role, because the dates were exactly the same dates, total conflict. And then he said, well, you know what? How about this role? It's a smaller. So he offered me a smaller role. And so I said, yeah. I bet I could get away and we could do the smaller role. And so that was it. So I got killed off. I was told I was going to die. And you come out of the doctor's office and you're like, wow, I'm going to die. I'm dying. Merle is dead. He's going to go. What do I do now? and a little light goes off in my head.
A little Marvel movie.
Bing, 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 and I go. I pull out my phone and I go, yo, Mr. Gunn, what's up, man? How you doing? Listen, dude, I can't. I've been thinking about it. I can't do that little role. I'm a big superstar now, man. I am on the biggest TV show in the world. And anyway, I know you don't have any money for me, and you're probably going to kill me really fast and something like that, and maybe make it really gory and everything. I just can't do that little role, and I can't do that stuff anymore, man. I got to move on. I got to do big starring roles now. I'm a big cool actor on Walking Dead. Right? And he goes, dude, I totally understand, not a problem. Listen, don't worry, please. And I can hear it in his voice. He's all sad and stuff, right? Aww. And I go, but I tell you what I'll do. I will do the bigger role. And he said, what? He said, I just got killed off, I'm dying, I won't be in season 4. I can see him, like earlier, I can hear him doing it. He's such a geek. And so hence, Yondu.
There we go.
Good afternoon. My question is actually about Henry, A Portrait of a Serial Killer. You've mentioned in past interviews that while filming it, in between takes, you would sit in a room, a very dark room, and just wait until you were called on set. My question is, how did it feel to be that deep in character for Henry, especially since he's such a dark and violent character?
I just found it really difficult to go in and out of character. And I was new at this film business and film acting and stuff and whatever. I don't know, film acting, TV, it doesn't matter to me. But I was not being where I needed to be when they said action. So I thought, well, I can't, you know, I have to do this different. So I asked the director to get me someplace where I can just go and hang out by myself and stuff and just wait, because this stuff is just driving me nuts. And so he got this little room, and I said, oh yeah, this is great. So I go in the room, and when I got to the room, every single wall had a mirror on it. Oh. So I get in this room and I'm like, oh, dude, you gotta get me some newspaper. So I got newspaper and I taped up all the mirrors, and then I took out the light bulb and I gave him the light bulb, and then I just sat in the dark. I want to just sit in the dark and chill out and just stay in character. And so that's what I did. And I stayed in character all day. So from first minute I came on set, I just stayed in character, and I wore the wardrobe. I wore the wardrobe home. So it was my clothes. So I kept my wardrobe. So I just got dressed and went to set, and I stayed in character all day, and I learned an awful lot about that, because you know when you I'm not suggesting everybody should do it that way, because it's not. I don't know if it's a good idea, you know, because it really messes you up a little bit. And so I stayed in character, but I learned how to leave work at work and go home, and just leave it there and go home from that movie. And a lot of people find it very difficult because there's a lot of spillover. You know, when you're an artist, when you're an actor, there's a lot of spillover, and when you're in theater school, they warn you, they want this to happen, because they want you to understand that yes, there will be times when maybe if you're like a D.B. Sweeney, who had to bat left-handed and catch left-handed, you know, during 8 Men Out, he did everything left-handed. So he found spillover. I mean, like all of a sudden, he's realizing that he's doing everything left-handed now. Same thing with Henry or any other movie. If there's a little bit of spillover, you find that you're developing those characteristics that are what your character would do. And that's kind of a good thing. But when you're doing a Henry portrait of a serial killer, it might not be advisable. So I learned very early on how to leave my work at work and just forget it and go home and enjoy my life, because you know it's nice to be yourself and enjoy life, right? So thank you, good question.
So no spillover from Merrill at all while you were doing them?
Shut up.
Thank you. Next question. While I recuperate.
My question was that, how did you feel when you knew you were going to be in the cast of The Walking Dead?
Oh wow, I was happy because I had a job. It's kind of nice when you're an actor and you actually have a job and people want to pay you to act. You feel happy. I feel happy, thank you.
First things first, I love you, Skeleton Man. That's my brother and I, that's our favorite movie.
You are really a sick person. There are people in the world that think that we actually did that intentionally. That's probably the worst made movie in the world. But thank you very much.
I have a question. Do you have any roles that you regret passing?
Do I regret passing on, or do I regret doing?
Yeah, that is kind of messed up.
Yeah, there are always roles that you regret ever even thinking about doing, and such as. And then there are roles that you go, wow, if I had known they were gonna rewrite it, I would have done it. You know. So yeah, there's been a few of those. Thank you, good question. Oh, God. Shh. Don't ever repeat that word. Yeah, go ahead.
Could you be like Merle for like 30 seconds? Okay, wait.
There you go, 30 seconds.
Should ask for more, dude.
Did you that's
No, I was
30
gonna do
seconds.
something. Okay.
That's all you wanted, right?
No. Okay. I want to see how Merle reacts when
You just saw. Everybody in the room saw it. It's an instant change. You don't even have to say a word.
Okay, I just want to see him how he reacts when this happens.
I know. Isn't that crazy? What a great scene. What a great scene. T-Dog drops the key and it bounces slow motion. Boing. Oh God, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. Thank you. I can't do that again.
Did you know when you read it, I mean, obviously the monologue came afterwards, but when you got to that part of the script, did you know that it was going to be like the iconic sort of moment when you read the script and the episode?
It was a great moment, and you can sense those moments, and they create those moments, and they're very delicately orchestrated, sort of laid out and storyboard, and it was like it was really nice. It was really nice, yeah. Because he's going for the key, I'm going for the key. Neither one of us wants the key to drop. Yet, and then Merle has to blame somebody, so, the guy dropped the key. What a dork. Did it intentionally, that was in his mind, so, yeah. Very, very interesting moment. We enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Yeah, good. I have a two-part question. I don't know if you could answer them. The first one is, of what you've read or done in the Guardians, do you believe you're coming back as John Duke?
Next.
No nos dijo nada de esta, no te va a dar la próxima.
Yeah, so.
I wish I could elaborate on cool stuff and non-cool stuff and anything on the Guardians, but it's really hard because Marvel is a great group of guys, and they put a lot of energy and effort and money, and we do as well, the actors, into making this, and we want people to be enthralled and surprised and thrilled and happy that they went and they paid their money to see the show. So, I got very good at talking and not saying anything. Because The Walking Dead's the same way, so you can talk around stuff but without giving out any spoilers or anything like that, and I got pretty good at doing that. But good try.
Hi, my question is, deep down, in your opinion, you think Mer was a good guy or a bad guy?
Good guy, bad guy, it's too cut and dry. There's no good and bad. There's no good and bad. I mean, what the question? That's a good question because that question is we pose that question many times during the filming of this TV show. All the time, is it good or bad? What's good or bad? Merle was Merle. If he liked you, he liked you. If he didn't like you, he would mess you up. And he didn't hold any punches. He was pretty out there and straightforward when he wasn't high. His love and connection with his brother, the only living person in the world now, just imagine now, we're in the zombie apocalypse, and your family, I don't know how many members of your family you have, but if they're all dead, you're only by yourself, or you're with you and your cousin, or you and your sister or brother. That's it. So his whole goal in life, once he realized and found out that his brother was still alive, was to keep his brother alive. So all the decisions that Merle made leading up to his death were for that purpose. A single purpose. And it was a purpose that had nothing to do with him and everything to do with Darrell Dixon. Good question.
Yeah, Michael, two questions. What was your initial thought when you first read the script and you read the particular scene when Merle was going to get killed off? And the other question would be, if there was one word you could think of to describe Merle's essence, what would it be?
His essence? Oh, to Merle? You know what? I was told verbally that I didn't see the script yet. I was told that I was going to be killed off, and so my first reaction was, wow, I don't have to wear a little Merle anymore. At a hand with a knife hand. I never have to put it out again. I was so happy and pleased. Because let me tell you, in the 115-degree weather down in Georgia, it gets a little sticky and hot and it hurts and it's like, oh man, I just want to hit something and stab something. And, no, it gets very frustrating. So, and to answer your second question, what was the second one?
Like if you were to describe Merle, the whole character Merle in one word, what would it be?
I don't do one word.
Or a series of words.
We do that in acting school. They want to tell you, find the single word, the single thread that describes your character. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There is no single word. There's no single phrase. Because, the young girl said good guy, bad guy. There's no good guy, bad guy. It's like every moment is different. Everything, life is different. If I look to you and I look away and I look back, you're different. It's a different moment in time, and so there's no one word because everything, you're changing all the time. It's minute little changes that occur, but you're changing all the time. And once you don't change, once everything is stopped, well, then you're dead, right? So you're gone, and that's it. Or your brain is dead or something, because everything changes, and there can never be one word or one phrase to describe. Writers do it all the time, but I don't. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, it's just academic stuff. So, yeah. Does that sound like a cop-out to you?
No, not at all.
No, actually, good stuff. Thank you.
Right. Le voy a pedir a todo el mundo que está en la fila para que todo el mundo que esté en la fila pueda hacer su pregunta, una pregunta.
One question.
Para que todo el mundo.
How many minutes we got?
No, we're good. I just want everybody who's on the line to get to ask the question. Okay. So just one question.
Hi, I'm Freddie, and it is finally good to meet you, Michael Because I'm a big fan of your film in Slither. You were awesome in that film.
Right on, dude. Thank you.
Well, this is actually a question that has to do with Marvel, not anything with details of Gasly, because I know that Marvel's keeping details on it, but if you become famous in a film, will you do any other Marvel property to be made to a film? Like, what is your dream project if you're gonna be in Marvel, like famous?
You can pick another Marvel property.
Marvel character. What would it be? Anything.
I like several of the characters that many. Marvel has many superheroes and bad and really dangerous and dark characters and stuff. So I like the Silver Surfer. Some of my favorite characters. And you know, I enjoyed the Hulk as well, and you know, and Lou Ferrigno's a good friend of mine, so I'm like, Louie, what's up? Give it to me, man, give it to me. He never does it. He'll never do it. He'll like, give it to you. Come here. Thank you, though.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, Mr. Rooker. My name is Luis. Welcome to Puerto Rico. I love your performance as Henry. My question is, as an actor, what were the challenges in you portraying that role, and how did you overcome them?
Henry was very introverted, quiet individual who was quite fearful of things around him, you know? So he kept that fear pent up and inside, and everything was inside that character. So it was a very introverted role. So that was one of the challenges, because I'm a very I like people, and I like life, and you know, it was the opposite. So I had to go total different direction, you know, when understanding, you know, and seeing things for the first time and stuff. So it's kind of an interesting process, and sometimes, you know, you can talk about that stuff, but I don't usually talk about it. I usually just do it. Thank you.
Hi, how has your visit to Puerto Rico been?
Very nice.
You should follow him on Twitter, he's been having fun.
And also, can you say Carchulio in a loud, dramatic way?
Did you like that scene with Gargiulio?
Yeah, my favorite.
I love that scene. I'll tell you a little story about that scene. Gargiulio and I were trying to figure out, well, you know, he was, you know, we were filmed it in a very aggressive way. He was quite the aggressor in that scene. He had his gun out, his finger was on the trigger. It was very much a gunfight. And for Merle was like, okay, my gun is in my holster. My shirt is over my gun. How do I have a gunfight with this cat and come out on top? It's it's impossible. So something has to happen so that I can draw my. First off, I'm right-handed. Okay, my knife hand is on. I cannot draw my gun with my hand. My normal, natural ability is to draw this way. Yeah, I can't do it. So I had to draw with my left hand. The gun that I had was a right-handed gun. Meaning there's a 1911, so the thumb safety is on the left side of the gun. So when you pull it, you take the thumb safety off, finger and trigger, and you aim, right? But because it's on my left side, I have to take the gun out, bring my thumb on the opposite side of the slide, take the safety off, bring it back over on the other side of the slide, aim and shoot. There's a lot of extra stuff in there, and it's really hard to do. And so how do I draw with my my unnatural hand and beat this guy? It's impossible. I didn't know how to do it. So we didn't even plan it. We didn't work it out. And I think my first impressions were, my first things I was gonna get my foot under a stick or something, hit it up into his face, and I was gonna shoot him. That's how I was gonna do it. And so you know, the scene is playing, and I come over and I see the stick, my foot's under the stick, and I'm like here. And right before I flipped, pop, and shot him, a bird started singing. And I sat there for a second, I go, hear that bird? And he goes, and I shot him in the head. It was so perfect. It happened just so, it was exquisite. And I thought, what a beautiful way to die. I am doing this guy a favor. He is so blessed to be shot in the head by Merle Dixon at this moment, because that bird was so beautiful. It was like an angel singing to Gargiulio. Come with me, my Julia. And it was beautiful, and the bird just sang and sang, and I said, you hear that bird? And the actor goes, and I shot it, and it was beautiful. It was great. That's a little short, that's a real, great story. But in the beginning I said that he was very aggressive with his gun. We were gonna have a gunfight. But the editing of the scene made it look like Merle cold-blooded shot the kid in the head, right? So that was the editor's choice and the producer's choice to make Merle even more villainous and sort of bad at that point. Because they had something else down the road, they wanted to flip it on the audience. So they wanted to make him really bad. So by editing it in a certain way, it made Merle, it made the audience go, oh my God, she just shot that guy in the head. But in reality, he had his gun out and he was ready to shoot me. And it was a big showdown. It was a OK Corral thing, kind of stuff. Yeah, but I thought which was really cool. But the way they did it was good for Merle for later on, as a setup. Yeah.
Próxima pregunta, por favor.
My question relates to the film Slither. How does it feel like to be a monster in a practical way?
It's hard. It's very hard, it's very painful, and it was very difficult.
Especially with the practical effects.
The practical and the makeup was very tough to deal with. And it was a seven and a half hour makeup job. So just getting up at 3 a.m. for any actor is really bad. But for me, I'm more of a nighttime kind of pub guy. To get up in the morning like at the a.m. like that, it's almost as if you don't even need to go to sleep. So I just stay up, right? But it was tough. It was tough. Those makeup days were very hard. Thank goodness we only did a few of them. So in the full makeup, we did maybe 3 or 4 days out of the whole shoot. But we had many other days when I was in makeup. So, but not in the full house monster makeup, which you saw it. So the house is like he covered the entire interior and exterior of the house. Thank you.
Oh yes, thank you very much.
So, Michael, what was your experience working with Al Pacino during filming of Sea of Love?
It was a good one. I was a very tough guy, and so I always remember when I talk about that. I talk about the fight scene in the bedroom where I'm ripping his clothes off and I want him to show me how he did it, stuff like that. But that was an awesome scene. I'll tell you a little quick story. The first time we went through the scene, and we got up to the point where he hits me over the head and the gun goes flying and he goes after the gun, he grabs the gun, I jump on, I grab the gun first, he jumps on top of me and starts choking me, right? I stand up and spin around and hit him into the mirror. He drops, he lets go of the chokehold, and then I throw him again, and this is part of the whole fight scene. Well, the very first time we did it, I go for the gun, he jumps on top of me, and he grabs me, and he's doing this. Feel that?
Yes, I do.
Well, he's
really going
choking me out. He's not choking me, but my blood vessels have been contracted, and I'm going to pass out. And I'm standing up. I'm supposed to stand up and spin him around. By the time I stood up, everything was going black. Black, 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 black. By the time it got to about here, I said, this. And I spun him around, and I jumped, and I was about 210 pounds at that time. I jumped, and with him on my back, we both went airborne, and I landed him against the back mirror. He let go of the choke. He fell to the ground. I went over like this, choking like this. He was down there going like, oh. And he looked up to me and he goes, hey, am I too much? And I go to him, I go, hey, did I too much? And he goes like this. We had no further issues. It was completely understood where our boundaries were.
Yeah, very interesting negotiation techniques with Pacino.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great scene.
All right. So next question, please.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Rooker. My name is Edwin, and I'm sure you've gotten this question asked before in other conventions, but I think everybody would like to know here, who would win a fight? You, Merle, or Daryl?
Are you even asking that question? Come on. Do you have big brothers?
No, I don't.
You have little brothers?
No, I don't. That neither.
Do you have any cousins?
Yeah, I do.
Do you beat up on your cousins at all?
No, I don't.
They beat up on you? Ever? When you were little, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, same thing. That was Merle's upbringing and Daryl's upbringing. You know, I think these two have been going at it since day one. They always fight, and Merle always wins, and you know that's why Daryl is sort of like a little bit under the thumb, because Merle is a wee bit too aggressive, you know, to confront in that way. And so when in the pivotal scenes later on, when he's becoming more of his own man, he stands up to Merle several times, which is awesome and great. And so, you know, but yeah, silly question.
Thank you for the question.
Of course.
And personally, I think Michonne would win.
Why do you think that?
Don't walk away. Don't go down and walk away.
Did you actually see the work? Did you actually see the parry and how I took her little sword away from her?
I did.
Yes.
Did you not see him joking? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Next.
Having fun.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
Hi, Mr. Rooker.
Hi, how you doing?
In JFK, how was your experience working with Oliver Stone and Kevin Costner?
Well, think of all the co-stars that were there. Jack Lemmon,
Joe Pesci,
John Candy. All of these guys were the best of the best in Hollywood and anywhere else, for that matter. And so we had so many great actors on JFK. If you haven't seen JFK, just watch it, you know, for the work. Every single actor in there is doing something, a lot of times that's completely different than what they do. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of work with so many great actors. It was a joy, of course. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Hey, last question, dude. No pressure.
Oh my gosh.
I was hoping you could tell us about your experience working on set of Mallrats.
Mallrats was like one of my first comedies. I don't get an opportunity to do comedies too often. So when I get that opportunity, I weigh it very heavily, and I want to do it so badly. So I try to arrange other things, and I usually want to do it. So I start out wanting to do it. So sometimes it doesn't work out, but Mallrats was one of these that was perfect. And Jim Jacks, who was the producer, said, you know, you play this girl's dad, and I thought, dude, I'm too young to play her dad. I would date her. Are you kidding me? You know? I mean, she's like perfect age for me. I would not, you know, I'm too, you know, I'm not old enough. And he goes, we'll dye your hair, dude. We'll dye your hair. And anyway, he talked me into it. So this is one of the times when I was like, no, I'm not the right age. There are a lot of other actors out there that are the age that would be appropriate for her dad. But he wanted me for some reason. So they dyed my hair. And you've seen it. Well, I come in that evening after the dye job, and my hair is orange. Skin. I had like little burn marks on my skin. And I was like, I come out, I knock on the producer's door, I go, he comes to the door, and I go, what do you think? He knows. And he goes, whoa, yeah, that could work. That could work. And you think so? And I go, yeah, that I like it. It could work. And it's one of these little hotels where the mirror is right by the door. And I look to the mirror and I go, yeah, that'll work. I turn around and walk away. I go upstairs immediately and I shave my head. And I'm like so upset that they screwed up my hair and did all this. So I'm shaving my head. Nobody knows I'm shaving my head, by the way. I'm just shaving my head. And I come in the next morning, first day of work, and I'm supposed to be gray and, you know, fatherly like. And, no, what a joke, right? But I go and I'm walking, and my hair's been shaved, and one of the ADs goes, oh, wow. Come this way. And he's bringing me over to the director so Kevin Smith can see my hair, which is not there. The only thing that's there on my head are about 8 or 9 pieces of toilet paper with blood stains on them, because I had shaved my head and I nicked it like crazy, and I had all these little things, and Kevin Smith is down there playing his Game Boy like this, and he looks up and he goes, yeah, that's great. That was it. It was beautiful. And the rest was history. It's awesome. And another little thing, the reason we have chocolate-covered pretzels,
Stink bomb.
Chocolate-covered pretzels are my favorite snack. The dark chocolate, Godiva. Thank you very much. Good question. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I regret to inform you that the guy that was before me apparently has telepathic powers because he copied my question. I will say this. You could make a very great Lex Luthor after seeing you bald in Morrowind. You'd be an awesome Lex Luthor.
Because I was bald, you could like shape on my head, right?
Not only because you were bald. The intensity that you projected in some scenes of Mordred convinced me. Good job.
Well, thank you.
Right.
Yay, one more. Let's do it.
Añaba. So that like squeeze in one more. Yeah.
Añaba. Nyapa.
Yeah.
Nyapa.
There you go.
Hi, Michael. I was here yesterday. I was the one who gave you the drawing. I don't know if you remember me.
I do.
Well, I was wondering, because I want to be in that industry you're in right now, and I totally want to be an artist working for Marvel and working for all the people you've worked with. What do you recommend me to do as a person that has gone from nothing to becoming a great actor, a great superstar, as everyone can say?
Well, you know what? Different avenues for different people. We all find our own way. But as an artist, you know, you just keep drawing, you just keep working. You know, in the States, in the mainland over there, they do things like drink and draw. Do you guys have a drink and draw here?
No, but
You meet at a pub and you drink and you draw. So it's called drink and draw, and it's like a club. They meet every Friday or every Sunday, whatever. They find a place and they all meet and they have drink and draws, and people win money at drink and draws. They have all the artists come and they'll give you an idea and you draw it. You may go through several ideas throughout the evening. So that's what they do all night long, and they drink and they draw. So my suggestion would, how old are you now?
I'm 19 years old.
Yeah. So go drink some more and draw. That would be very good training. Thank you guys.
That was good.